Hello and good morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you are. Welcome to our town hall, our State of the Union as it is. And today we're going to be hearing from our HD&L Chair, Wanda Sturm. Wanda is consultant with Resource Global Professionals, and she has spent the last 30 years specializing in oil and gas. Wanda is a leader. She's a coach and manager with extensive experience in planning, systems thinking, change management, ops, and organizational development and quality. But of course, we know her best as our brave and fearless leader. Wanda is going to spend the next hour, 45 minutes, talking a little bit about what we're going to be doing next year. In the meantime, before we start, just remember that everybody is on mute, but we welcome you to type in any questions that you might have as you think of them into the question box. So with that, I'll turn it over to Wanda.
Thank you, Marilyn. I really appreciate that. I want to start by just sharing a quote with you that I saw the other day, and it says, "Great leaders do not set out to be a leader. They set out to make a difference. It's never about the role. It's always about the goal." And so what I want to do today is share with you our results for the goals that we had in 2016, and I want to bring forward the plans that we have and the goals that we've set out for 2017, and let you know what's going on with the division and how you can become more engaged, and so that you are well aware of the things that we consider to be important that we hope are important to you as our members. So with that, we're going to get started. We can go to the next slide. During this session, I want you to know that we are also going to have some polling questions. And so when we do that, I look forward to your responses, and that will really help us as we move forward as a division. So in 2016, our results were aligned with the ASQ strategies. There are 6 strategies from ASQ, and they are listed down the left-hand side. We had specific actions, and it just so happened this year we had actions in all of those areas. And what I'd like to do is just share briefly and recognize those that were the leaders for these particular actions that we held this year. The first one around global expansion, and this was exciting because what happened is Jesus Gilberto Concepcion Garcia, who is one of our member leaders and has been a member leader in our division for a number of years, was able to assist the Dominican Republic in setting up a local member community. And so we had a specific role that we put in place called the Global Chair. Gilberto took that role on, and he also brought to the division, and I don't know if you had an opportunity to attend it or not, but a webinar in December that talked about the formation of that local member community, or the LMC, in the Dominican Republic. The next area that we focused on had to do with member transformation, and this should be near and dear to your hearts in terms of ways that we can provide development, information, learning opportunities, and different events for you, our membership. So to do that, we improved our social media outreach by using LinkedIn, Twitter. We had a great update to our website, and we consistently provided newsletters to you, both via email, sending them out to you, and also posting them on the website. Both Stephanie Golding, who is the lead for our marketing and communications, and Lucas Kapp, who is responsible for publications and newsletters, worked diligently to make sure that we had that information provided to you, and provided to you on a timely basis, and hopefully in a way that's useful to you. We also looked at how do we develop our member leaders, and we talked about doing that through mentoring. And so a couple of people specifically took that on, John Breckline and David Winnie, and they took people under their wing and began to teach them about the roles that they have around membership and VOC. And you'll see when we get to next year, or this year, that those people are moving into place, and so it's actually a great program that works. We also held a face-to-face meeting, and we're able to look at what have we accomplished and what did we need to accomplish going forward, and we had a half-year update in May when we were at WCQI, and then we all got together as a leadership team in November to work on the 2017. The other thing that we looked at was improving contact with new and renewing members. And we wanted to make sure that we looked at improving the process and the tracking of that. And that's something also jointly that John and David worked on. The other thing, similar to this, we offered webinars last year and workshops. We held over 10 webinars in 2016, and we also had an SES workshop in July of 2016. Thank you goes out to Deepak Biskawala and to Marilyn Monda for their dedication in making sure these happen and in making sure that we had great and interesting speakers and content that would be of use for all of us. And then also we were able to hold our annual breakfast at the WCQI last year, and Ming-Yu Wong is responsible for that, and he's another one that has done some mentoring along as well, and he has someone in the learning mode with him to help continue that breakfast and other opportunities for engagement with you. The third area was around growing organizations, and this area we're not touching on in 2017, you'll see in a few minutes, but for 2016 what we did is we reached out to specific organizations to try and entice them to come in to our workshop. And so through Stephanie's work and Marilyn's work, we were able to get a company to send some people to the SES workshop, and that was very helpful to the group so that people currently in industry in one business could share with those in other businesses in this particular session. On QBOC, this is led by Brooks Carter, and he and Marilyn published a primer and held a webinar around one of our key topics, and then we also solidified on the other topics that we're going to have. And then from an operational standpoint, this is where we're providing training, but actually what we did is rather than holding some type of formal training for new leaders, we built that in with the mentoring program. And then we also try to make sure that we recognize members and that we recruit member leaders. And so we have onboarded 2 new leaders in 2016, and Bill Barton had a process for us to do that. And also we've tried to, myself and then Brooks Carter as the chair-elect, we've tried to make sure to recognize our member leaders. And we've done that verbally, we've done it through written notes or emails, and then small gifts that we've been able to provide. And finally, the last area is the gift of quality. And that includes our scholarship and promoting well-being and social responsibility. So we were able to award the Ash Ogle Scholarship last year, and we were able to do that at WCQI. We held an educational webinar around promoting well-being, not only for an individual, but for an organization. And Mark Jones is one of our new leaders, and he led that webinar for us. And then we have spent time around social responsibility, not only having articles in our newsletter, but also participating in social responsibility actions when we were at different meetings with TCC, the technical community, and also trying to participate in our own communities around social responsibility. 2 people that didn't have a specific lead role in any of those strategies were Richard Uphoff, who is our treasurer, and Rob Richardson, who is our secretary. And you know, without them and their excellent work, there's no way that we would be able to do this. If we don't know how much we have to spend and we're not keeping track of where we're going and then what our key items are and making sure that we're getting together and following the plan, then we wouldn't be able to do all this. So with that, we're going to stop for a couple minutes and we're going to do a couple of polling questions. So Deepak, if you would, take a moment and share the polling question. So this is one where you actually can check all of them that apply to you. So we'd like to know which of these elements that we just talked through actually provided you some value. You know, is it around you're interested in global expansion and learning more about how to implement a local member community? Are you interested in our webinars, our newsletters, the breakfasts that we hold, different ways we try to engage? The Growing the Organization, that whole strategic engagement skills course, that SES course that we offered, that may be something that really hit home with you. Or what about being recruited and recognized for things that you have done with the division, or potentially giving back in social responsibility, or maybe you're interested in applying for a scholarship. So which of those actually would apply to what helped you during 2016?
So it looks like we have about half of the people have voted, Wanda.
Okay.
Maybe we want to close for now, Deepak, and see what we've got.
That would be great. Thank you.
And you want to click on share, the share button. There you go. Beautiful. So it looks like most people are interested in member transformation, Wanda.
Yes, it does. That's excellent. Okay, so that's great. So we're actually working on that when we move into next year, which is what we're going to talk about next. And we're going to go through with you exactly what we have planned in that area as well as some of the other areas. So thank you so much for your response. And let's go back to the slide and let's look at 2017.
Go ahead and there you go. Beautiful. Next slide.
There's another question.
Oh yes, the next polling question is to choose among all of those which one you felt gave you the most value. It's the same set that we saw before: global expansion, member transformation. Only this time you only vote for one, the one that you feel gave you the most. Now, I have a feeling we're going to see member transformation coming up as the top. Let's go ahead and close that poll, Deepak. There we go. Wow. We'd better do well on that in 2017, Wanda.
Yes, we had. Well, good. Let's get to it and see what's going on for 2017 and see if this is going to fit the bill or not.
Okay. Click the hide button. Deepak. There you go.
So in 2017, I'll tell you that ASQ's direction has not changed because it's a strategy, so it's a strategy for more than 1 or 2 years, right? And so this is focused on the same categories that were there before. And when we got together as a leadership team, we spend some time talking through this and trying to look at what is it that we really need to do that's going to make the most difference and high grade this so that we can deliver to our membership, you, what is most important. So you can see that we still have something around global expansion, and Gilberto is still heading that up. And our intent is to develop an alliance and document the LMC process. So we're exploring creating a local member community in Trinidad and Tobago because they used to have one and it kind of fell by the wayside. And we have some tools that we're using that can really help them get the right leadership in place. So a way to assess people that are interested in leading and make sure that they put the leadership in place that can get this going and moving along. The other thing that happened is we actually submitted a PAR innovation application. So for those of you that know about the ASQ headquarters in terms of being recognized as a division, we have the opportunity to win awards for our PAR. And so with that, it had the opportunity to apply for an innovation award. And so we submitted the LMC, the local member community process, for that award. For membership transformation, the one that's most important to you, our whole action is based around trying to gain some face time with you, generate educational opportunities, and collect and act on the feedback that we get from you. So we are actually going to talk about this in more detail. But before we do, I want to do one question number 3 on the poll, that talks about the global expansion piece.
So we're asking you to vote whether or not you'd like to learn more about how to establish a local member community, what we call LMCs, whether or not you have one or you would like to maybe mentor one. It's a great way to really achieve the global imperatives that ASQ has for membership growth.
Absolutely, and we can offer some learning opportunities around this if anyone is really interested or they have a passion for the global space.
Okay, we've got about 75% voted. If you want to close that poll and share it. There we go.
Good.
Wow.
That's awesome. Thank you, guys. We'll try to make sure that you get a learning opportunity in the near future so that you can learn more about this and you can decide if this is something you would like to be involved in.
Yeah, maybe Gilberto would like some help also, you know.
Absolutely. I'm sure he would. So let's go on and talk about membership transformation. What our plan is in 2017 is to continue to hold our breakfast session at WCQI. That's one of the few times we get that opportunity to have some face time with you. The other thing is that we want to hold webinars and workshops. And the webinars, like this one, it's audio, but we do feel like, although it's not face time, it is time with you, and we feel like it's time well spent. We would like to make sure that Deepak and that Doug Samuels, who is coming in as our education chair, will have understanding about key content that is of interest to you. And so we're going to ask you some information a little bit later on in one of the polls about topics that would be of interest for you. Also, another area that we want to continue moving on is collaborating with the Innovation Division. And Brooks has been our liaison with that division and done an excellent job. And as a matter of fact, they participated in San Diego in an innovation conference. And so you had representation there. And for those of you that are in that area, it's another great way that you can get involved with people in HD&L, but also through other divisions such as innovation. So we're trying to partner with different divisions where it makes sense and offer joint opportunities. Another thing that we are looking at is a lot of people like things electronically, and most all of us have moved kind of into that electronic world. But we're also publishing what we call primers, which are small booklets that are of great use for you to have right at your fingertips and for use. And so if any time that you potentially would not have a device with you that you like to read on, you could have this primer available. And so one of our ideas was to look into mailing each one of you at least one primer a year, one of the most recent ones that was published, so that you're receiving something, a small gift from us to you. The other thing that we're looking at doing is producing a video on the human development and leadership values that we have, and that would be one other way that we could engage with you. Although it's still more one way, potentially we could get feedback on that video from you. And so Richard is looking into the mailing because he's our financial guy, and I'm looking into the production of the video. And then between the two of us, hopefully we can get something out to you that would be of great use to you during the year. And then the last thing that we're going to do is we said that we really need your feedback. And so we're going to design and administer a survey, and we're going to hold these town halls at least twice a year. And so David Winnie, who is responsible for VOC, and he's actually working with a new person that's coming on board, Katie Berman, and she's going to help with this, and Lisa Simpkins, who has taken the membership chair role, and she was mentored by John Breckline. This is what's going to happen from a membership transformation. So let's take a couple of questions now around this particular area because of its importance to you. So the first one just talks about, were you able to attend any of our webinars in 2016? And we tried to divide it out between, no, I didn't have time to do any, to yes, I was able to make one or two, or I was able to make more than that. So Marilyn, how are we doing?
We're just about up to 80%, 88%.
Oh, wow.
Wow, people are interested
Nice.
in this one. And so let's go ahead and close that, Deepak, and show the, there we go. Wow. Lots of people coming to more than 2 webinars. That's really encouraging.
Yes, it is. And for those of you that were not able to, maybe just in the questions area, if you could let us know if it has to do with the timing or the topics have not been of interest or you just didn't know about them, that may be helpful too to help us understand what we could do different for getting information to you.
There's a selection factor here because this is a webinar. So this group would be, since they're at a webinar, we expect they probably went to some others.
True, and it looks like 53% of them did go to 2 or more, so that's awesome. And I think we have one more question talking about membership transformation and engagement. And this is still about the webinars. Did you actually find them applicable to your work? And so we also tried to break this out in, you had many applicable learnings, you had some applicable learnings, or not many. And so if you could let us know this would be very helpful as well. So for the webinars that you actually were able to attend, what would you say?
We're up to 63% on this right now. And we got a note that said someone attended one, but its timing is always an issue. Depends on whether he has a client scheduled. I think a lot of us have that issue. Our schedules are so unpredictable that, you know, we never know in advance if we can do it. But
True.
so maybe a notice close in to the time of the webinar would be helpful.
Very well, could be. And the other thing that we're trying to do too is to record these and then place them on YouTube and have a link to them from our website. And then that way you can actually, if you're not able to attend, you can at least go see what was presented. So Marilyn, look at this.
Yeah,
we could get a 70% response because 30%, 29% didn't go to any webinars.
Similarly, Wanda's question from before, not many, those of you who answered not many applicable learnings, if you want to give us some feedback on that in the question box, we'll gratefully take it.
Absolutely.
Okay. We can go on to the, back to the slides. There you go.
Okay, so as I mentioned, growing organizations, we had just the one last year where we worked with a company and tried to partner with them to bring them into our workshop. Not to say that that may not happen again, but based on the limited resources that we have, and after talking with ASQ and getting some feedback on our plan, we discovered that we really didn't have to have actions in every area, but in those areas where we could make the most impact. And so what we did is we chose to focus more on membership transformation, thank goodness, because that's important to you. And then also on this next area that we're going to talk about, which is the QBOC leadership. And so initially what we're doing is we are working on developing and publishing 2 topics, one around conflict management and one around motivation. And those working on that are Brooks Carter and Mark Jones are working on the motivation piece, and Marilyn Monda and Carol Ann Wolfgang, who is a member of our division but not a member leader, are working on conflict management. So you do not have to be a member of the leadership team to participate in this. And actually, Brooks has started a process of where he's getting people to participate in helping to write around the QBOC, and that's going to be an excellent process to get others involved. And if any of you are on the phone that have signed up for that, thank you so much for your response and for being so excited about it. I saw some of your emails and it looks like it's something of great interest to many of you. The other thing that we're working on is having a page on our website that features different resources that are available to you and can point you in the right direction for these topics of interest around our body of knowledge for leadership. And so Bill Barton is a part of the team. He, Brooks, and Mark are really kind of heading this up and getting others to assist with writing and incorporating the different topics. And the next area is operational excellence, and this is really just us cleaning up our administration, so to speak, in some regard, and that is just making sure we've got clear documentation for our roles and responsibilities for all the member leaders, and that we continue to recognize our member leaders. This is a volunteer organization, and we know that you're not getting paid to do this, but we hope that you get some intrinsic value from participating in this. And we feel like if we make it easier for people to participate by being clear about what are the clear operating procedures that you need to accomplish, what are specific tasks, or what are some checklists that need to be done. And so all the chairs for the different areas are actually working on making sure we have those so that others can be brought in and mentored and trained and provided with that information. And also, like I said, we want to continue to recognize you and provide verbal, written, and small gifts where we can to people so that you know that you are valued and your membership is valued with us, and we want to make sure that you get something of value from us. And then finally, we're still focusing on the gift of quality. We still want to award the Ash Ogle Scholarship. Gilberto is in charge of that. We're going to continue to promote well-being. We are the only division that has a clear focus on well-being. And Mark has come in and is doing a great job working on this, and he's in the midst of completing a white paper. He plans to complete a primer and hold a webinar and engage members as best he can. He's in the Seattle area, and I know that he would like to get with HD&L people in that area just to talk about and consider different options around well-being for the individual and for the organization. And then finally, we're going to have WCQI presentations, and one of the things we're trying to do is share information and engage you at different opportunities. So if by any weird chance you could not make our breakfast at WCQI, we have several people that are going to be speaking at WCQI, so you can be looking for that. Gilberto is going to be talking about the LMC, and also that whole Innovation Award thing should take place, or we'll hear about it around that time. Marilyn and Carol Ann, I believe, are going to be talking about conflict. And then also there's going to be others that will have an opportunity to provide different roles during WCQI, and hopefully you can interact with us there. So I want to just let you know that as well, Marilyn Monda is doing a lot of work, and you see her name throughout here, and she's on the call tonight, but she's also in charge of our strategic and business plans. And then John Breckline is in charge of our audit, and that time is coming up. So we are audited just as other businesses are audited to make sure that we are responsible both physically and ethically with what you've entrusted us with. Lucas Kapp is continuing with our publications and working extensively with the newsletters. And then Rob Richardson left as the secretary. He had filled his 2-year term. And so now Marlene Johnson is with us, and she had been with the division previously as the secretary and has come back, and we're very happy to have her back. And so now what I want us to do is I want us to take a couple of more polling questions, and then if you have any questions, I want you to please put those in the question box, and we'll start taking Q&A after these polling questions. But Deepak, if you would, question 6.
So we have, excuse me, we have two, asking you to pick 2 potential topics for webinars next year. We have, there are 2 slides, so you'll get 2 chances to pick from topics. These are visioning communication, motivation, appreciation of a system, and strategic planning. So anything, you can select as many of these as you would like to see topics presented. Right now we have about 60% of the people voted, 70% of the people voted, 80% of the people voted. I think we're doing well if you want to close that poll there, Deepak. Ah.
Strategic planning, motivation.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's surprising to me. I'm thrilled to see strategic planning with some, even though it was misspelled, doing some getting
yes,
some.
Actually, that's strategic planning, but that was also the most prominent topic that people wanted to work on who applied for the writing group.
Interesting.
So we're kind of missing the boat and not covering that area. Time to attack.
Yeah, I think you're right. So Deepak, you want to give us the second half of this poll? The next question. And in this case, again, please pick 2. Change management, conflict management, coaching, mentoring, leadership theories, and wellness. And when we talk about wellness, we're talking about organizational wellness as well as personal wellness. Lately our focus has been on has switched from the personal to the organizational. We've got 60, 70, 80% voted. And so I think you can close that poll, Deepak. It's not moving anymore.
Okay.
So tied for leadership theories and wellness. That's good. The basic leadership theory is very important.
Yeah, foundation for everyone in leadership, isn't it?
Yep.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for participating in the polls and for being here. And now what we'd like to do is take your questions. I'm curious if any of you out there saw something that said, oh, yeah, man, I really want to be involved in that.
And while we're waiting for people to put in some questions, Wanda, we did get a little bit of feedback on the webinars. And one was, I'll pick a few here. There are a couple of people who said that they would really appreciate an email with a link to the YouTube because the YouTube is sometimes difficult to find.
Okay.
There were a couple of people who said, yes, scheduling is always an issue. And again, I think maybe it might be a good idea to send out a quick reminder close to the time of the webinar. You know, if you guys are not signed up to our LinkedIn group, you really should go ahead and do that. Because that's one of the ways that we communicate informally about these webinars, and that will definitely remind you that there's one, you know, coming up in the near future. We also have a comment that says that we would like a more practical approach in the webinars as opposed to theoretical, that there's a preference for application and advice in the webinars as opposed to theory.
Yeah, and I like the comment too that kind of follows that talks about things being presented from a point of view of the ivory tower or from a corporate perspective or a higher viewpoint, and that's not always what people are looking for. Sometimes they're looking for something more practical, and I think that's
I believe, and someone is asking the name of the LinkedIn group. I believe it is just called HD&L, ASQ HD&L. Stephanie, maybe you could type in the name in the question box.
I think it's Human Development and Leadership.
Is it?
I think so.
Yeah, I know Stephanie will know it off the top of her head. And, oh, here it is. Regarding the webinars, we can certainly, Stephanie says that we can certainly email links to the recorded webinars, but they're also linked off the website. And of course, you guys know our website, right? ASQHDANDL.org. And then there's if you go to archived webinars, then you can find the webinars as well as the links to the YouTubes. And
the LinkedIn group is ASQ Human Development and Leadership Division.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Yep, and Lisa, thank you both.
And
okay, any other questions? Did any of you see an area that you're just dying to know more about? If you did and you don't want to, if you don't want to speak up here, you can certainly send me an email, or there's a place on the website where you can identify things that are of interest to you. But my email address is wanda.sturm, S-T-U-R-M, @gmail.com. Okay, so somebody, oh, great, found the LinkedIn group and they found the web page and bookmarked it. That's awesome. We've got someone interested. Yeah, we got people interested. Webinars for RUs. I believe they all come with that, do they not? Or am I wrong about that?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and I think this person who's commented, please don't assume we know the website. I think that's a great point. Let's make sure that everybody knows the website link, ASQHDANDL.org. It's really full of great stuff. It's got the primers. It's got the webinars. I would just love it if you could check it out.
Brooks, you've got one person that's interested in participating in the BOK.
Great. Did the person get the invitation?
I don't know, but I'll write the name down and we can follow up with him. How about that?
If they didn't get the invitation, just have them send me an email and I'll send them the invitation.
Okay.
And they can find my email on that website.
Oh, you have seen it. Okay, perfect. He did see it.
Okay.
They did see it. Okay. Do we have anything else? This is your time, and I specifically didn't want to talk too much, so you'd have more time to...
Great. 2 pluses today, found the LinkedIn group and found the web page and bookmarked it. Yay.
Awesome.
Just for news, we have 19 people so far in the writing group.
Great. There is the Canadian group, and I don't know how many HD&L members are there, but I do know one of the lead people for the region there are one of the sections there, so we need to get you in touch with him, because I know they would love to have you participate. And I would tell you it's Daniel Zyrmiak is the person. Zrymiak in Canada. Okay, perfect. All right. Well, I don't want to hold you on the line if you don't have any other questions. This was intended for you and to make sure that you're comfortable with where we're going this next year. If you have any other feedback, I believe there's a survey that'll go out, correct, Deepak?
I think Deepak's on mute.
We
Okay.
have a standard survey for
Okay.
webinars, but I have to think about whether it really applies to this. I may have to modify it.
So anyway, Brooke, this is Deep. Just send me the survey link and our standard procedure after each webinar. We send, thank you for attending this webinar, as well as how much continuing education credit you will get, as well as a link to the webinar recording and a survey. So this will coming soon, probably today or tomorrow.
Yeah, I have to review the survey though, because this is very different from our standard webinar. I'm not sure the survey is going to apply. I have to write a couple of different questions.
Well,
just, Brooke, just let me know if you want to...
something tonight.
Okay, so thank you everybody for being here, and we will give you back 15 minutes of your time tonight. We hope this was of value for you, and please let us know what we can do to bring more value to you. We are excited to be the leadership team, but we need help. We cannot do this by ourselves, and we're always looking for new leaders. So jump right in there.
Thanks, Wanda.
All right, we can sign off.
Thank you very much.